load the game. Close my Twitch stream. Thank you. There we go. Move you across. Alright, so where we last left off with Logistical, we were doing some stuff over in Germany. Near Ulm and New Ulm, which is pretty cool. We have 528 businesses completed and 189 towns. 599 roads out of the 9,863 in the game. No small, mean feat this game is. I think I'm about to sell the small dump truck. I think it has well and truly outlived its usefulness now. But we were kind of stuck. Basically, it sort of seemed like everywhere I wanted to go, I sort of couldn't go. Yeah. Let's zoom out until we get all the dots. All the dots. More dots. More dots. And there was a reason for that. And that is, right now, we are kind of done here in Germany. We need to find a way to get into Russia. So that way we can unlock the Russian railroads and start dealing with rail. And the way to do that is, well, through a different place. A place called South Korea. Yeah, I know, I'm shocked too. But part of the reason why I wanted to do that, I took note of it, but I then did that silly computer restart thing, so I've sort of lost it again. But one of these towns had, obviously I'm not going to go through all of them, but I assumed it was one that my trucks were parked at, had crates. Might have even been something like over here or something silly. I was just like randomly looking at towns for some reason, and I stumbled across one that just needed crates. Well, this one also needs crates, but it also shows sheep and cheese. The one that I was looking at just had crates. And when I looked at that, I got to use the good old question mark thing, and it showed me that South Korea is the place to get crates. Or at least I assume that that's where it was. So our next stop is going to be over there, and we'll filter that out and see how we get. Yeah, I can't find the specific place that I used. But yeah, while I was looking around, I did stumble across such a place, and it enabled me to figure out that that is indeed our next stop. I'd been contemplating that we might have needed to either continue into the USA or into somewhere like that. I didn't do all the roadworks. You can see that there's still quite a few roadworks here available, but I did a large majority of them. So, for instance, if we have a look at asphalt, and zoom right out, you'll see that there is, there's some roads that are not in the country anymore. Same up here, that need to be done, but otherwise pretty much nothing. Same goes for bricks. There were just some of these ones in here which I was pretty much doing, and then I needed to leave. So we sort of just left those there. So there are still a few little roads here that need to be done, but they are pretty minor and pretty tiny. So I consider it more or less a success. We pretty much got all of the roads done. The only things that we had left is, of course, to look at dealing with ports, and the problem with ports is that we have none of them available to us. So I'll run that down again just for the people playing at home. We have the port of Bremen. In order to unlock any of these ports, we need to provide them with all of the goods. We can't provide them with anything that has a question mark beside it like this. A question mark means we know of its existence, but we haven't accessed the area that gives it to us. So we know computers exist, we don't know where they exist. Same with engines. I don't know what this weird other little question mark is on sausages in the top right. I don't know. So there's that. So we can't access that port, and if we follow the port lines, we can continue down into Hamburg and have a look at the port of Hamburg. And that one's actually got like a good that two goods that we simply do not even know how to acquire them. So that's not an option either. The third port, of course, is over in Denmark, I think. Maybe in Sweden. Port of Gothenburg, and that's even worse. We don't even know how to do any of that. So that is not an option for us. Now, we could do this, you know. I actually don't know what all these new things are. This H&R thing. History of towns, businesses that are being clicked. History of clicks in the region. Okay. It's almost like this game is being actively developed or something. Very bizarre. But whilst we do, I think, have a place that builds boats, which yes we do, over here in Munkebo. We don't have access to fiberglass, I think, is the problem. Like, we have access to steel. Oh yeah, so the other thing that I did was I built steelworks down in Lower Germany instead of shipping it all the way and doing this fiddly stuff. But yes, we don't have access to fiberglass, and fiberglass is needed to build these boats. So even though we have access to plastic and steel, we are very, very limited. Now, one could argue... No, I think even... So one of the things that is worth pointing out before we continue is if we have a look at the steel mill here in Feldbach, you'll see that we've been able to get it to a much higher level than the steel mill that we managed over here in... it wasn't in Stockholm, it was in Hofers. And the reason why is this is a different type of steel mill. It needs different upgrade things. SAP asks, is this Patty 4 but better? No. No, this is more of a EU... more of a, like, European... I don't know how to explain this game anymore. Euro Truck Sim married a donkey and... I don't know. It's a very bizarre game. It's a very bizarre game. But yes, this steel mill requires coal to upgrade, whereas the steel mills that we made in New Zealand did not. So what I did was, I completed 8 businesses and 2 towns with the steel from Hofers in Germany, which unlocked the ability to build a steel mill. And the steel mill that I built was the one, the type from New Zealand, which meant that its upgrade path was much more basic than the upgrade path from the one in Hofers. So we're able to get enough steel to actually provide like the wires and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway, let me zoom back in on... Oh, I'm going to have to try and find it again. On the Summer Museum, if we have a look at the map here, you'll notice that there is red over near Korea. I think that's Korea. It looks like South Korea to me. And that is an area that's lit up for crates. When I found the place that was just crates, that was the only place that lit up. So that's going to be our next stop. It's pretty much what I've gotten to. Alright, before we do that, I'm going to sell my cheap dump truck. I don't think we'll have use for it anymore. I'm also contemplating parking these, because they cost, I think it's, what is it, 20,000 or something per park. But it'll just get them out of the list. But that's okay. Let us load up the contracts, because we did have an access to South Korea contract. I hope I've got this right, because otherwise it's going to be very, very frustrating. Expand to Croatia. Okay. Oh, what about that one? I didn't think about this one. Expand to Croatia. Control F, is that it? Yes, it is. Control F, Stuttgart. Stuttgart in Germany. No, we can't do Stuttgart. It has a question mark that we can't do. We couldn't do machinery or wine either. So that's definitely not on the list. What is this? Rhine River Road fix. Oh, whatever. Some stuff that I don't care about. Oh, was South Korea and New Zealand unlock? It was. Expand to South Korea. So we just need to complete Christchurch in New Zealand. Let's give Christchurch a go. Didn't know there was a Christchurch in the United Kingdom? There you go. Alright, here is Christchurch. And if we have a look, Christchurch needs pretty much goods that we can already supply to Christchurch. So that part is good. The downside is we only have a single vehicle. We probably need to get a second vehicle in Christchurch. Unless Christchurch can be done by a boat, which it can't. So we are going to need a second vehicle because I don't think a single vehicle can do this. The other option is we... the other option is we grab... we have a look for a completed town nearby, and we do things that way. And technically we have the port here with 30 slots open. So we could effectively just... and we'll probably end up doing that, actually. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so let's make note of things really quick. Notepad, yet again, my favorite tool in this game. Actually, I wish the game came with a notepad, honestly. I should recommend that to the devs. Maybe it does. Let's just drop that recommendation in right now, why don't we? They have a feature requests. In-game notepad. Or finding making lists of goods that way to build stores of. There we go. And they'll probably tell me that one already exists and it's just under this weird button that I've never noticed in the middle of nowhere, but that's fine. So we need to do wheat, flour. What kind of grain is that? Oh, it's fertilizer, of course. Fertilizer, fish, steel. Pretty easy. We definitely produce all of that. I think maybe what the problem is... Oh no, we've put wheat close by, and we've never filled that up. No, it looks like we did fill it up. But the others were too far away, perhaps? Okay, so fish is on the other island, and we can't currently do stuff that way. That's fine. Steel is also on the other island, but we also produce it in this island. We can do flour as well. Okay. I'm mostly intrigued by flour, so let's go have a look at flour really quick. So flour is locked by wheat. Excellent. Well, we gained wheat here. So we basically built a wheat plant here in the Northern Island, so we can do stuff like this. So this is definitely the next step. It feels correct. Let's upgrade this industry. Let's get it some more wheat. Oh yes, the other thing that we did was we sped up to 14 times, so we are almost at the maximum speed that the game provides. Which is, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We need 5 more XP to see what the next level is, so I'm just going to go and try and find a place to deliver a load of this. Sure, just deliver it there. Cool. You now just need wood to upgrade, so let's do that. It'll need well, it won't need 2 full loads, but it'll need some amount. There we go, that's now at level 2, which is pretty good. We could get it all the way to level 3, but I don't think we'll need to. SAP asks, is there a date or time? Or is time just passing by? So yeah, time's just passing by. There's no sort of time in this game. There is the passage of time whilst you're like moving vehicles and everything. So for instance, we're going to need this ship back eventually. Where is it? Yeah, so our ship is currently over in Australia. Let's bring you home. So as you can see, you know, it's got a travel time, and that travel time will change depending on if it's empty or full. It also has unlocked speed modifiers that effectively allow it to go faster than it needs to. So right now, it's all of my vehicles are going at 6 times speed. Because this is more of a puzzle game than it is anything else. It truly is. Alright, so in order to get the flour mill to level 3, and we need it to be level 3 to build it elsewhere. So that's one option. Option 1 is we get the flour mill to level 3, we build the flour mill over in the southern island. However, flour is not quarantine locked, so what we could do is we could just build a store over in Christchurch. Sorry, was it Christchurch? Was it? No. It was... for some reason, the game really doesn't like ports. So the port of Littleton is where we're going to store all this stuff. Everything except for... what did we decide? Wheat, because wheat is really close by, so we don't need to store wheat. But we do need to store the other things. So let's build some stores. Okay, we have space for 30 stores here, and it's at a port. So we don't need wheat, but we do need flour, which is what we just gained. And that's spot for 400 flour, which is more than enough than what we'll need. Fertilizer, so these are costing us like, you know, 10 and 15,000 each. It's not a huge amount. Fish is going to be 30,000, which is a bit rough, but that's okay. And then finally, steel. Okay, so now we've got our stores, all right? These stores will allow me to... yes, the game indeed was a gift. It is, I don't know, it's... Look, the guy modeled every like semi better than minor town in existence. Like that's a massive level of special. Like it's just an insane level of special. You know, he found interesting things in every land that he was looking at and modeled it into the game. This is a game as a proof of how a massive level of effort doesn't mean a massive level of fun. Well, and yet, people still watch it. I don't understand. So what we're going to do is we need to, of course, fill these stores. So the flour store is really easy, right? We can just grab the flour from there and deliver it across. Okay, but fertilizer becomes slightly more problematic. We do have a fertilizer source here, so it's not a problem, but if we needed to import it across the island, there's that quarantine, which would stop us from being able to do that. And yet, people watch Jake fill out spreadsheets. Indeed, they do. Fish is only on the North Island, and it's quarantine locked. So how do we deal with fish? Well, the way we deal with fish is easy. We put it on a boat. So we could build fish, and I'll sort of show that off. I'm not actually going to do it. but I don't mind showing off the ability to, assuming I have actually completed a town here. Actually, I could just pick a northern island one. It doesn't matter that I'm showing it off on the wrong island. Actually, here's a town. And it's a town that I still have one slot in. So each of these goods, this sand place, this sorghum farm, and this steel mill, are things that I've built over in... yeah, it is. It is sad. Are things that we built in the southern island to accommodate the stuff, because these are things that we couldn't import, so we had to get the businesses to level 3 in the North Island, and then build them here in the South. So to buy fishing wouldn't cost us that much, to be honest. But it needs worms, and worms might be quarantined also. So we could just be causing an additional bottleneck problem for ourselves. So we could do it that way. But instead we're going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to say that you've probably got enough now, so let's stop you repeating. Let you do one more, I suppose, but... it really doesn't like clicking on ports. Yeah, we basically filled flour, which we definitely didn't need to do, but that's okay. So we are going to want fish. We can't do fish normally, so what we're going to do is we're going to build another store in the other port that we have. So we have this port over here, Port of Tauranga. That's the Port of Tauranga's ships, the Port of Tauranga itself. And over here, we're going to build another store for fish. That's only going to cost us 30,000. Remembering that so that means total it did cost us 60,000, which was the same as building fish over in the Southern Island. But once again, didn't know if the worms were going to be a problem. We could have checked, and maybe we should have checked, but that's fine. We have a storehouse now of fish here in Port of Tauranga and a storehouse in the other port. So what we do is we go, hey, I would like fish, please, from there. My truck is going to come all the way back up, grab some fish, and start delivering it down. Now, how much fish are we going to want? Well, a decent amount. Probably around... let's say 300 tons, just to make sure that we've got enough. And that doesn't exactly take a long time. So it's 240, this load will be 280, and then I'll stop it repeating. Fine, I'll let it repeat once more. There we go. Okay, now what we do is we select our boat, and we go, hey, you've got fish. I would like to deliver that fish over here. And it's slowly filling up. And of course, then it gives me an error, right? Because it can't fill up the boat. The boat is an 800-ton boat. But that's okay. We tell it to go on its way. And now we have some fish on the southern island, ready to go when we need it. Okay. What's next? Fertilizer and steel. Okay, both of those we have capabilities on the southern island, so let's get them sorted. Let's pick the correct vehicle. No, let's not do steel first, because steel looks like it's a bit temperamental. Let's do fertilizer. As for looks in this game, I've been contemplating it, right? I've been sitting here, I've been thinking about ways that you could make this game look better. And I don't think you can do this level of scale without making it look like an absolute mess like it currently is. However, if you could also do this in 3D and sort of take the approach of the UI is completely ugly, but a lot of it I can't see easy fixes for. Normally I'm one to be like, oh yeah, you know, they should do this and this to do the UI. And yes, it does have some things that could definitely be easily fixed. There are some help places that could be in more obvious spots, so on and so forth. But the thing that I don't know how they would fix without like doing something really drastic is basically these dots. Like I just can't. Like outside of like I just like they can't have this level of detail and massively change this. So yes, some not. You might notice there's a question mark in the bottom right corner where chat is. You can't really notice it because it's covered in text and there's other stuff there. This question mark down here displays keys and also the tonnage of roads, which is important. The thing is that I never knew about this, and I was so confused about like what the different colors of roads meant. And someone was like, question mark bottom right corner. I'm like, who would even think to like look at that question mark covered by a bunch of text? And yeah, it just, no. So, anyway, I'm mostly comparing it to, say, Paradox UI, where there's elements that you can press and open a menu, but they just don't look like buttons. Yeah. That's fair. Most of the things in this look like buttons. Like, each of these look like buttons. That's fine. You know, these things up top here look like buttons. Same with around here. But sometimes the buttons don't work, and the game doesn't tell you why the button doesn't work, so you just sort of have to figure it out yourself, which isn't great either. Let's get steel working. So what's the problem with steel? I'm guessing that it just doesn't have enough goods. It also needs to be upgraded. It can be upgraded via plastic, but will it need to be? Sure, let's do it. We'll upgrade this. It'll take 100 plastic to upgrade, but then we'll just be able to deliver some basic iron ore to it, and that'll be fine. Won't take long to do the upgrade path, so. There's a lot I like about the game. I like that each level of industry provides an efficiency bonus, which is quite noticeable. It's not like I've always disliked games that are like, you spend all this work leveling up an industry and something, and you get a 5% efficiency bonus. Who cares about 5%? Like, that's, you know, sure, I'm going to see a bonus of it over time eventually, I guess, but it's never going to be, like, noticeable to me, the player. Whereas the efficiency upgrades in this are meaty and immediately noticeable, which I quite like. I can't really easily show it off, but you know, the amount of iron ore that's being consumed to make that much steel is so much better already. You know, I could have shown it off before and then after, but I like the whenever you level something up, an industry at least, it feels really satisfying, which is quite nice. So let us deliver our steel. I think major improvement would be allowing delivery queues. So yes, you do have that as an option, Flying Land Duck. That's called multi-nav something. And in order to do it, you need to complete regions. And for every region you complete, it gives you a single vehicle that you can apply that to. Now, you might think, oh, well, a region, you know, like completing New Zealand is not very feasible. But if I wanted to right now, I could go and complete Martinique and unlock my first multi-nav GPS or whatever the heck it's called. Multi-route gizmos. Here it is. No, I didn't finish it. Do you find the multi-nav particularly useful, Alpha? Fair enough. Alright, so we've done all that. We've got all the goods nearby that we need. Fertilizer and fish are our lowest storage, so we should do them last. We should instead focus on things like steel, which is really easy for us to re-fulfill. So let's start with steel and see if we can do this. Could I select Christchurch, please? Alright. Excellent. So this looks fine. I want you to do one more, please. So go and get me one more steel. Thank you. Alright, you can go get me flour next. So, towns eat goods. I know I've repeated this plenty of times on stream for people who have watched before, but as you can see, towns consume goods. When those goods are scarce, the town will consume more of them. They have like a fear of missing out, supply and demand sort of thing going on. So you have to be kind of a bit cautious about that. You see, eating it quite fast, 62, 64, 66. But then, and now it's like 0.5 each tick. So you do have to be really careful with your deliveries. Kind of like people with toilet paper when the first COVID wave hit. Kind of exactly like that. Alright, let's do that. Let's do fish. Let's do steel. And then let's do weight. I reckon we'll probably need to do one more load of flour before this is finished, but maybe we'll get lucky. Ah, no, we're going to be fine. Cool. And we're also going to get $363,000 for completing it, which is pretty cool. Alright, we completed 190 towns, complete 200 towns, and get to 16 speed. Well. Alright, before we do South Korea, which we have just discovered, we are going to get ourselves our final speed upgrade. Because all I need to do is 10 more towns. And I reckon we can do that in Germany easily. Easily. So let me pick an industry that I think that I haven't done yet, because I've done a lot of industries and a lot of towns, mostly off stream. I might not have done wood yet. I can see a couple of places that wood is a doable thing. So let's do that. We want the big circles with 1 on them. So this one here with a 7.4, that's what we want. That's a town. Big circles means town. 1 means it only needs 1 good to be satisfied. And 7.4 is the tonnage. So we just did 1 town. This town down here, Starnberg, needs 23.09 tons in order to be satisfied. That's fine because it's a 40-ton truck. Alright, let's have a look Northern Ireland and see if there is anything here. There's one that needs 67. Okay, before we have a look at that, let's zoom into these ones because they might be good. They are not. So there's a lot of businesses, of course, but we don't need businesses for our upgrade. Let's set you to go and do this, and then we will switch to a different vehicle and switch to a different good. How about... I think we've done chickens and eggs. We might not have done planks, though, so let's have a look at planks. Does anyone need planks? Nope. Maybe I did do planks. I did a lot of these businesses, so how about plastics? Ah, plastics looks great. Excellent. 6.7 tons there. Let's do it. Why are there hazard signs on the Germany-Poland border as the game set before 1939? So they're just quarantine things. Basically, there's a lot of goods that I can't take over that border. Basically, it's just a barrier for the puzzle aspect of the game to consistently be challenging when you unlock new areas, is basically the way of thinking about it. There's one down here that needs 11.5. So it just looks like, from the looks of it, that it's just strangely wood, but I guess wood can contain parasites and stuff like that. But it's mostly just fresh fruit and vegetables. and animals by the looks. Yep, cattle, chicken, pigs, sheep. I think that's barley. Yeah, so grains, fruit and vegetables, animals, and wood. So the wood does seem a little bit odd, but I know plenty of places. Like here in Australia, we can't accept wood from other places unless it's received certain types of treatment, because there's a lot of fungus and parasites and stuff that we don't want to ever happen here in Australia. So it's not the weirdest thing that I've seen. There's a town here that needs 16 tons. Let's get that done. So I could be using like multiple trucks to do this, but the time, like that trip, the time it would take for me to then select the next truck, select the plastic, find the new industry. This truck's already ready again. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, looks like plastics is done. No, that's not an industry that I want to use. I don't think I've done wool. Excellent, this place just needs 5.2. North Germany still has a town with a need for plastic, does it just? Nice spotting. North Germany. Ah, indeed it does. Very good spotting. There we go. Alright, we are now at what I believe to be the game's max speed. I've not seen any screenshots with this number higher than 16. So, alright, let us zoom the way out and then click on this dump truck over in South Korea, and let's start exploring a new area. Now, the exploration is the thing I like the least in this game, but every new region we're going to have to do it. Now, the good thing is that, like, if we think about how many roads we've unlocked compared to the roads that we have total in the game to unlock, we've done a fairly significant chunk of them. So I'm expecting the following. I'm expecting this area and the US, as well as the rest of Europe, to have most of the game's annoying roadways. I'm hoping that like Canada and South America and Africa and stuff are going to be less crazy. Is there a win-lose condition? No. In theory, you could run out of money. There is no bank in this game that can give you loans. The amount of money you get back for selling ships and trucks and stuff is pitiful compared to your purchase amount. I've reached negative money before, but I was able to get out of it. So it is possible to go broke, I guess, but it would be very difficult. Basically, like, whilst you're in negative income, the only thing you can't do is like buy new trucks or buy new businesses. But yes, in theory, you could sort of maybe soft lock yourself. But it would be really surprising. Like, each of those, like, by the time you've unlocked something like Germany, right? Like, I think at this point it's basically impossible. Like, if I just select something and I go cars, look at all the places that need cars. I get paid for every delivery to any of these places, even the places that need multiple of it. In theory, as long as it was profitable enough, I could set up I could give a town that wants multiple goods only one good, and I can let that town consume that good and then resupply it. Certainly capable. So yeah, the only way you could soft lock yourself is by having negative money and then deleting all your trains and trucks and stuff would be pretty much it. I don't think you could feasibly soft lock yourself with any ease in this game. Alright, so let's have a look. Here we are in Changwon. We have a dump truck, which is pretty much the game's base. I'm going to close this window. We don't need it open. And we automatically have access to a bunch of trucks. The truck cost is quite cheap over here. So we're probably going to actually grab a B double. I might as well grab a new one. A used one is barely any more or less expensive here, so we'll do that. Now, it's worth remembering that B doubles, because they can carry 40 tons, do have issues with certain roads, but hopefully it won't be a problem. Hopefully. South Korea is pretty well developed, so it should be fine. We also have over here in Bongha Village rocks, and if we have a look at this roadworks here and this roadworks here, they both need rocks. So when we highlight the rocks, it shows us that these roadworks need rocks. I'm going to use the dump truck to begin with. Well, actually, no, I might as well use a mixture of the two. No, actually, it makes no sense to use a mixture of the two. That's fine. So let's go back to the dump truck. So the reason why we're using the dump truck is the dump truck fills up. Technically, it fills up at the same rate, but because it has a max tonnage of 8 tons, it reaches that max tonnage and goes on its way far faster than the 40-ton truck would. And at this point, we're not unlocking bonuses for the vehicles because we're not completing towns or businesses. So yeah, if we wanted to, we could get a speed up for the trucks, but honestly, with the 16 times speed, it becomes pretty no nonsense. I thought that was rock. Oh no, that's wood. Okay, so we've now unlocked some new areas. There's some more roadworks. There's some exploration that needs to be had. And we've got a bunch of things over here, so I guess there was some sort of contract. Oh yeah, so a dream tree. Basically teaching us about things in South Korea. Let's explore. Okay, we've discovered a cotton farm. Let's head on over this side. Discovered an oil rig and bricks and asphalt. No, those are requirements. Okay, somewhere else. Busan's History and Culture Museum. If we fill that in, we'll get a bunch of money. Discovered a worm farm. We can't access there yet because of these vehicle accesses. Yep, that's how this game works. Every time you find a new region, you have to discover the roads. And the roads will have roadworks where you'll have to effectively build the roads in order to unlock the next section. It is, like I said, a puzzle game, and this is its puzzle elements. As far as I'm concerned, it's its weakest point. Like, I understand the... So, my complaint with the roadwork system is several. I've used this before, but in Metroid, for instance, when you find a new power-up and you need to access a new area, you go in and you use that power-up a couple of times on the early doors. You know, if there's some sort of new funky way of using the power-up, then it'll sort of give you access to do that. But the doors that need that power-up to unlock are just the first couple of doors, and that's it. In this game, you know, as we continue throughout all of South Korea, and then into North Korea if that's where we're going to go next, and then into Russia if that's where we're going to go next, we're still going to find places that need rocks. And it's just like, okay, so now I've got to stop, and I've got to go back, and I've got to go and make a rock delivery. And it's just like, what even is the point? It just seems a little obtuse. So we have Donghae oil, which will give us access to oil, which is another thing for roadworks. So that's an option. But in order to do that, it looks like we will first need to supply chemicals to unlock that as a capability. So we don't need much chemicals, but it is some. So that's something we have to keep in mind. Okay, so we need to go back to rocks, and I think we'll find that this roadwork is what we need to do next. Like, some parts of it I like the slow discovery of industry, right? So you're not barricaded. It's like, hey, I discovered a chicken market. It's not, hey, you've suddenly discovered 16 industries. The problem is that I've discovered 2 industries here. I've discovered this. I've also discovered this solar cells farm. But the game only tells me about this. It doesn't tell me about both. And because it doesn't tell me about both, sometimes you can overlook things. You know, like, these roadworks need brick. I've had it when I was in Germany, where I discovered something like a car factory. It's like, discovered car factory. At the same time, I had also discovered a brick factory, let's say. But I didn't notice. And I was like stuck, and I'm like, oh, why can't I progress in the game? Clearly I've done something wrong. And the answer was, you didn't notice you discovered a brick factory. So yeah, definitely the weakest part of the game, I feel. Okay, we discovered a forest. Where was that forest? Okay, that forest is over here. Do we have access to it? No vehicle access. Okay, what are we missing for the forest? Okay, it looks like we either need steel or boats for some reason. I guess this is a giant river that boats could go through. Sure. So steel will give us access to wood. Yeah, I don't mind it. It believe me when I say after a while it does great. Like exploring the whole area and stuff like that. It can get on the nerves a little bit. And like I said, I don't think it's bad. It's just weak. You know, I've seen all there is to see from that system, and I would like to see other stuff, and the game just doesn't throw it my way. It does have something cool though. I will show that off actually. Let's jump over here. So you saw how easy it was for me to deal with towns and their goods and stuff like that here in Germany and in New Zealand. It was very easy. Norway, currently only Norway, but maybe there's other places in the game that also do it, has an interesting setup. To unlock its towns, so let's say I want to unlock the town of Bergen, okay? I would need to complete, this is a huge example, most of them are like 5 or 6. I would need to complete 52 businesses within Bergen's sphere of influence, which is sort of where this thing that's flying around is, within that sphere of influence, in order to actually complete Bergen itself. So it creates this sort of like double layer thing, and that was really important and created a really interesting technical puzzle where I needed to complete a town somewhere, I don't remember where, but in order to complete that I needed to get storage to deliver goods there fast enough. In order to get storage I needed to find towns that I could complete, and then I needed to find businesses that could be completed in the range of the towns, and you can see how like a multi-layered sort of puzzle like that can tend to work. I quite liked it. I thought it was kind of neat. Other people maybe less so. Okay, a meat market. No vehicle access, really. Why not? Ah, there's tiny little roadwork here. Okay. Also can be annoying because like that little roadwork you can't see from this far out. Does that mean I'm stuck? Okay, it does sort of look like it. It looks like I've discovered just about everywhere that I can currently. So let's go and have a look back at good old Rock Place. Rock Place. And see if there's any new... There is not. Okay. Must still be a pathway for my truck to go. Wheat doesn't unlock roads, neither does rice as far as I'm aware. Oh, we got raw cotton. Didn't notice that. We have worms and fertilizer, but we don't have access to it yet. Okay. So yeah, the only road working good that we have access to is still rock. Hey look, it's the place that creates crates. My gosh, it's beautiful. There's also a meat market, which... How does this work? Oh, it's a storage, so I can store this goods here? Interesting. We'll fiddle with that later. Hang on, I can see this place that needs rocks. Why don't we have access to that? Ah, because we don't have a way of traveling to it. Correct? Correct. Okay. So, let's try and figure out where we haven't explored yet. So far, we've definitely explored all across there. These roadworks make me think we've done everything here, but let me just try. Let me also try on the bottom road there. Yeah, that's what I thought. It looks like this is blocked here, here, and by the two roadworks here. But just in case. Just in case. Okay, and we can't go up here because we tried that already, and there's that tiny little roadwork there. Okay. Here we go, found it. If in doubt, there's always a place you haven't explored. Okay, we've got a chicken farm. Fantastic. Didn't we also have... Excellent. We supply chickens, and that turns into edible chicken, as in... Yep, and we supply wheat, and this supplies with chickens, eggs, and fertilizer. Excellent. Let us start by doing that now, because I think we already have access to wheat. We do. So we'll get you started on that, and see how we do with this. Can I have a drink? Because my throat's getting a little sore. Alright, let's get a tiny bit more wheat. So another annoyance that I find in the game is that I can't tell an industry to stop producing things. So right now it's filled with chickens and eggs, but it's still consuming wheat to make fertilizer. I wish I could tell it, no, I don't actually care about the fertilizer that much. Ah, right, the wheat needs fertilizer. Let's do a delivery of fertilizer, which will turn into wheat. Very straightforward. Alright, then take some wheat and turn it back into fertilizer. And then we'll take chickens and turn it into chicken. All right. We'll let it grab one more. Might as well. Because it's still consuming wheat to get fertilizer, so doing this is a good option. Yep, and now it'll stop. Excellent. And you can overfill a business. So if I got this to like 65 or something, I could still put another 40 tons into it if I wanted to like overflow it a little bit. That's something that the game allows me to do. I see what looks like another rock roadwork available for us. Discovered a wire factory. Excellent. We need wire, but in order to get wire, we need steel. So steel is the next thing to contemplate. Okay, it looks like we are out of stuff, but it looks like there's also a little roadworks there that we can deal with. So let's just do that. 8 tons of rock, go gadget. Doesn't take long at all. And then we have more roadworks done. Okay, let's continue our exploration. Heading to bed? No. Okay, looks like the only place available left for us is up here, so we'll have a look. Found a timber mill. And a paint factory. Where was the timber mill? Okay, timber mill is over there. Not as useful for us as a place that actually supplies us with wood, but that's okay. Well, we haven't discovered any new road working resources, and I feel like we've... Oh, maybe we haven't gone down here yet. Don't think they'll... Oh yeah, there's a roadworks here that also needs rock. There we go. So there'll be something in Ulsan which will probably unlock something. I'm gonna guess wood, but I could be wrong. Seems like a weird place to get wood. There's a car factory. Okay, that's not useful. Got another Jiang's. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that museum. But it's a whale museum. It's the only whale museum in South Korea. There you go. Details the city's history of whaling, which was banned in 1986. Okay. A dolphinarium, where you can watch dolphin acrobatic performances. And a 4D theater. How wonderful. Okay, it looks like I can now access worms from the other side of this roadworks. So this accesses worms for us and fertilizer. It doesn't, however, give us access to any other roadwork goods as far as I'm aware. But yes, we can access worms now. Don't think we had anywhere that used worms, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I didn't think so. Are they businesses or towns? Yeah, they're businesses. Okay. Okay, so the good thing about worm farms is that they are an infinite supply of fertilizer, which is pretty useful. We need fertilizer for cotton. We also need fertilizer for rice.